Hello, and thank you for joining me on today's video blog. I'm Stephen Pilkington with the Path Home team. So on today's video blog, we're going to go over frequently asked questions that our buyers have specifically pertaining to new build properties. So if you're like many folks out there, you've looked at a new build, you've seen the beautiful photos, and you've wondered, maybe this is right for me, maybe it's not. So I just wanted to touch base on a couple of questions that come up pretty often. So number one, what is a spec house and what is a ground start or a custom order? Very often we have clients who are interested in a new build and they see something online, they see something in the MLS, only to discover that that house doesn't actually exist yet. That is what's called a ground start versus a spec build, where a spec is when a builder is confident that they're going to be able to sell the properties. They start building the specific property, choosing the countertops, the paint colors, the elevation or the front of the building. They choose all that for you, knowing that they believe there's going to be somebody that's going to come buy that. So you don't really get to choose all of your designs and your fixtures and such, but they do use a designer, and so sometimes you can get a fantastically designed property, and instead of having to wait 6, 9, 12 months, you might only be waiting a month or 2 months. So that's what a spec home is compared to a ground start. Another question I get a lot is, so I'm looking at a new build, and am I going to have to use the new build lender? And the answer is no. You definitely do not have to use the new build lender. However, in many cases, depending on the new build company, they might own that mortgage company, and there's a good chance that they might give incentives that you just can't beat elsewhere. In fact, I've had a past client that even worked at a bank, and the incentives on his new build property were so great that it made sense for him to use that new build loan and then just ultimately refinance later on his own 6 months later, because the money that he got for the design center was tens of thousands of dollars by using that new build loan. So you don't have to, but oftentimes it is in your best interest. Something else that comes up on new builds that we get asked a lot is, what about the warranties? And while every new build company has a different warranty, what we see very common is you see a 12-month warranty that's kind of like your bumper to bumper that covers pretty much everything. Now that doesn't mean that if you bump a hole in the wall that they're going to come back and fix it. It has to do with defects. And then you typically get a multi-year systems warranty, and this is the big one, you get a 10-year structural warranty. So that means that if the ground moves, if things crack that aren't supposed to crack, and that causes problems in the house, you have up to a 10-year warranty on that for most new builders. Yet, at the end of the day, ask to get the specific information for that home in that community. And then going along with that, a lot of people say, well, if I'm getting a warranty, do I need an inspection on this home? And the answer is yes, 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 yes. Sometimes clients choose to do that inspection later after they close. They'll actually do it at like month 9 or month 10. So then the inspector can find anything that's wrong with the property and take it back to the new build company so that they can make those fixes. However, we personally on our team have encountered some fantastic new build properties that when the final work's getting done, something accidentally gets messed up. Could you believe that we've actually encountered 3 sewer lines on a brand new property that were either crushed and broken during the backfill or had completely become disconnected? We've encountered properties that they go to run the dishwasher only to find out there's water hose in the basement that's spraying everywhere. So even though it's a brand new property, mistakes can be made, and it is always, always, always prudent to get that inspection on that new home build property. And then here's the final one, and this is the big whopper here, is that if I don't use a real estate agent, can I get a better deal on a new build property? And the answer is no. You can't get a better deal if you don't use an agent. So the big nationwide builders, the commission that they have for agents is actually part of their marketing budget, which is a nationwide budget that is separate from what the design center and the build out budget is. So unfortunately, as a consumer, if you go to a new build directly and you say, hey, this property is priced at $500,000 and I would like to get 3% off because there is no buyer's agent working with me, or I want to get that money put towards the design center, they're going to say no. Or they might give you some kind of a credit, but to tell you what, as an agent, we can negotiate that same credit and oftentimes a better credit for you with that new build company. So just know that if you are looking to purchase a new build, there's no reason to go it alone. You can get the help of an agent along the way. And then one last little final thing I'm going to throw in there on new builds is the price that's advertised on the road sign the price that you're going to ultimately be paying? And typically the answer is no. So the prices that are advertised for most new build properties is the base price of the property. So then when you start making changes and improvements, the price of that property can increase pretty dramatically depending on what those changes might be. Most cases, we usually see the final price of a new build being somewhere on the minimum about 5% higher, but on average, it's usually more like 15 to 20% higher, depending on that build, which can be a lot. And to be frank, I actually found a property recently that I went in and the base price for it, and it's a beautiful, beautiful house. Base price was $1.6 million and the for sale price was $2.4 million. That's an $800,000 increase based on the lot specifically and the improvements in the property. And now that's a pretty extreme example, but just so you know, here's another value of working with that agent when looking for a new build so that we can really guide you to make sure that the improvements you might make are ones that you're going to get your money for, and that we can help you so that if you got a budget between $500,000 to $600,000, doesn't necessarily make sense to look at a new build that says that they start in the upper fives, because there probably aren't any that are actually closing in the upper fives. They're probably all in the sixes. So I hope you've gotten some value out of today's video blog about new builds. If you have other frequently asked questions that you would like to figure out, that's something that you're thinking about keeping you up at night, something you're curious about, something you saw an article for, please let us know. We'd be happy to speak about it, do some research on your behalf, and get you all the information we can. So until the next time, have yourself a fantastic day. We look forward to seeing you again.